Hello, everyone. My guest today is Jimmy Mackin. He's the CEO of Curator, a full-service digital marketing company focused on helping listing agents get more listings. In 7 years, the company's grown to over 10 million in annual recurring revenue, has been featured in Forbes, Huffington Post, USA Today, and other outlets. In 2019, Jimmy co-authored Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, a best-selling book designed to help agents with common, critical, and difficult questions they face. He's also host with Water Cooler, over 115 episodes and 8.5 million minutes watched, the go-to resource for a lot of folks in the industry. Jimmy, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Excited to
All
be
right.
here, Nathan.
I'm excited you're here too. So just be clear, this is really a service business, and you're just now thinking about what to launch in SaaS. Is that accurate?
Well, no, I would describe us as technology empowered professional services. So we've always had a technology component to Curator. In fact, I think when we initially started, probably about 50% of our clients were just relying entirely on our technology. But over time, we've really focused on the services aspect of the business
Mm-hmm.
to help scale and to help really deliver value. The way we think about it, maybe it's not traditional for your audience, but the way we think about it is not software versus services. We think about it as a solution, which is how do we use technology and how do we use services to deliver an actual solution for the customers. So when it's appropriate, we'll use software. When it's appropriate, we'll use services. But at the end of the day, it's all about just getting results for the clients.
And last year in 2020, if you break down your revenue from tech-enabled services versus pure SaaS, what percent went with each?
Yeah, so when we started the year, we were 80% SaaS and 20% services. And a huge initiative for me was to balance that number out. Now, I know for the VCs who maybe watch these shows, they're going to say that's going to affect your multiple, but for a bootstrap company like us, that's not something that's really on our radar. So I wanted to get more of our customers using our software, our services. So last year we ended with 50% of our customers who have a professional service and 50% who just rely entirely on our tech platform.
Interesting. Okay, let's just focus on SaaS for a second. What was MRR last month?
780.
780,000.
Yeah.
And how many customers were paying that? Or
Well, we have,
pay you total, sorry.
I'm sorry.
How many pay you total?
Yeah, we have like between 480 and 500 clients.
Okay, so this is it's $780,000 in MRR divided by 500 customers. I mean, this is sort of a mid-market enterprise play at $1,500 a month average contract size.
Yeah, we're a premium service. We work, in real estate, the industry that we're in, the top 10% of real estate agents sell 41% of all homes sold in the US.
Mm-hmm.
We're not interested, Nathan, there's 2 million agents in the US that have a license. We're not interested in working with the bottom 90%, the part-timers, the ones that sell 2 or 3 homes a year. We want to work with sort of the entrepreneurs who actually have a business, who are trying to grow, who need the support and resources to make that happen. So for us, we focus on the what would be considered not even mid-market for us. It's really considered sort of the top tier enterprise in real estate.
And if you're doing $780,000 a month in revenue last month, where were you about a year ago so we can understand growth?
Well, we were probably around the same point. When we at our bottom during COVID, geez, we got down to like probably $495,000 a month in
Mm-hmm.
MRR. And that was obviously on the back of the real estate market shutting down, and we lost a lot of customers very quickly. We lost a lot of revenue very quickly, more on the software side than on the services side, but it hurt nevertheless. And so what we've done over the last really 6 to 8 months is get us back to where we really needed to be and focus on everything we could do to innovate to get ourselves in a position where we were essential to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to essentially kind of get back to where we were, which is like, in some respects for us, something we're really proud of and felt like was a massive
Yeah,
success.
how did you do that though? Did you just re-sign? Are you re-signing people up that churned during COVID, or are you getting new customers altogether?
Well, so the strategy, I think a lot of people forget, what it was like in March because now we're February. It feels like a lifetime ago, right? But the thing that became so obvious to us, the number one lesson we had in COVID was very simple, is that we absolutely had to be essential. We had to be Netflix. We couldn't be Hulu or Peacock or Quibi. I saw an article recently on the LA Times, Nathan, that said, and I think you got a kick out of this. They said streaming companies like HBO and Disney are experiencing this phenomenon called churn. And in the article, they went on to talk about how 46% of consumers in the last 6 months are going to cancel a streaming service. And so for Curator, when we started to think about our value proposition, we started to realize very quickly that we needed to get closer to the customer and, more importantly, closer to the cash register. So what we did to get us from being at $4.95 back to where we are today is we understood that we had to say, okay, we have to innovate. And so we had to focus on what is the value proposition that customers really need right now. We were primarily marketing, but it had to be advertising, because advertising for our clients a much faster time to value. So we shifted our focus to entering into the real estate advertising market, which is $19 billion market. The biggest player in the space is Zillow. They're the dominant player. And we said, we're going to provide an alternative to Zillow, and we're going to help our clients get an ROI on their advertising spend in conjunction with our marketing services. And that was a huge driver of growth for us. And more importantly, it allowed our customers to quantify very easily what the ROI of Curator was, which is ultimately the goal for any company like us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so $780,000 a month in revenue today, about a $9.3 million run rate, 500 customers paying. I assume you guys are profitable since you're bootstrapped. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So when I took over as CEO,
when was that?
October of 2019. So October 2019, the first 3 months we were hemorrhaging cash. We burned upwards, I think, of around $690,000 in cash in the first 3 months. In the last 5 months, or last 4 months, excuse me, we've made over $550,000 in cash.
That's great.
That's large. I'm sorry.
That's great.
Yeah, well, we're really proud of it because it's largely due to just operational excellence. Just like it's the way we think about it is playing offense and defense at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, again, we're pretty simple as a bootstrap company, but I think in a lot of cases, when you're comparing yourself constantly to other fast growing SaaS companies, you tend to overinvest and expect that timeline of return to be much faster than it actually is. So, part of the discipline of being a bootstrap company is to be conscientious of what is a long-term investment that you can make that maybe or maybe not will play out versus what do you need to do now to actually make money to keep keep the doors open here.
What is the economic relationship between you and Chris Smith? I believe Chris founded the company back in 2013.
Yeah, we're co-founders, so we're equal partners.
Okay. Oh wow. So he gave you 50% of the company when he came in 2019.
No, so Chris and I co-founded the company together. So we were together on day one. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So you guys just split it equal, 50-50 day one, and then you took over as CEO 2019.
Yeah. So we actually have a third partner, a Curator. So it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. With the three partners, we have a silent partner who was involved in the technology at the beginning, who has now stepped back from the business.
I see. So what was a big change in 2019 then? You just taking over as CEO?
Yeah, well, one of the things that Chris and I realized, well, first off, I think for anyone who's watching right now who is a founder, my advice is very simple, is that the relationship you have with your co-founders is maybe the single most important thing that you need to work on to ensure that you can actually build a sustainable business. And the relationship I have with Chris is just phenomenal. It's someone who I've always admired and respected, and someone who I've always used as a mentor and the sounding board. And so in 2019, for Chris and I, it became really clear and obvious that the company needed a single voice and a single leader. And that transition from a founder to a CEO is a really difficult transition for most people to make. Founders, Nathan, you know this already because you're in this space. Like, founders have all of the power, but none of the responsibility or accountability. And so, you can do whatever you want to do, but you're not really responsible to anybody. In bootstrap world, you're not accountable to anybody, except maybe your other partners. But even that's not really the case.
Mm-hmm.
When you become CEO, you have to sort of defer the power and defer the responsibility, but ultimately you're accountable. So for Chris and I, it became clear to us that, hey, this is what this company needs to level up and go to where we want to take it.
And what's it look like today? The team, how many folks total?
We got about 46 people at Curator, give or take.
And how many engineers?
We got about 8 engineers.
8. Any quota-carrying sales reps or no?
Yeah, we actually have been, one of the things that I did when we mentioned earlier about bringing the, having to sort of turn the ship around in 2019 and going into 2020 and surviving COVID is one of the first decisions I made is I basically reassigned our entire sales team into customer service. And so we had virtually no salespeople. I was a salesperson, right? I'd handle sales calls. which sounds crazy for a CEO to do that. But the reality was we had to focus 100% of our effort on getting our churn down, making sure our customers were, ecstatic, driving up our NPS, driving up our CSAT, driving up just our overall word of mouth. And so since then, once we felt like we really had a grasp on that and customers really began to get value out of Curator, we then began to build a sales team. So currently we have 2 SDRs, 3 sales reps, 1 sales manager.
So just the 3 reps carry quota, or they all carry quota?
When you say carry quota, you mean?
They have a quota target. Their compensation is based off hitting a quota selling plans.
Yeah. So they have monthly goals.
So all 5 or just 3?
Well, the SDRs are responsible for booking, obviously, demos for the sales reps. So they have a quota to hit in terms of like demos, not a financial quota. So,
yeah, I'm looking for a financial quota.
Yeah, so the only the reps have a financial
3.
quota.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you, I mean, look, one of the big mistakes founders make when they look to scale their sales teams, especially the quota carrying reps, is they get the ratio wrong of quota target to on target earnings. So what do you say yours at? What's the quota for those 3 reps with quota?
Well, for the company, we want them to really be about 70%, right? So like if each of them are at 70% of their quota, then we're going to hit the company goals.
Okay.
Anything above and beyond that, we're like, it's obviously gravy.
So what is 100% of quota?
100% would be probably about 27 to 30 subscriptions a month. For us, that's roughly 2275 because we've been moving up in price.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm not following. 2275 what?
2275 a month is our base price, right? So you said our ARPU earlier was like what, 1600, 1650. Yep. So to sign up and partner with Curator, it's 2275 per month. That's the cost. So each rep is responsible for getting 10 deals per month. So
I see.
You with me?
Yeah. So 10 deals is 22,000 in new MRR per rep per month, or annualized. It's about $250,000 in new ARR per closed every month.
Correct. Yeah. And we have 6-month agreements. Then we go month to month after that. But yeah, that's correct.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. 3 times another 12. Yes. That's aggressive actually. I mean, if they are hitting quota at 100%, that's like $3.2 million in new ARR added per rep per year. But you said they stay at like 70%. That's still like, either way, it's a big quota. That's a large 2.2 million quota is a big target.
For us, listen, I think in the world that we live in, when you focus on supporting the reps with inbound leads and you focus on investing really heavily in marketing, and you focus on building your brand, then it's possible, right? If you sort of are forcing your entire sales team to be outbound reps or to sort of kill what they eat, it's an incredibly difficult challenge.
It's not cheap. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. We're running out of time though, but it's not cheap to feed these reps. I mean, what are you spending on fully weighted CAC to get a new $1,600 a month account?
When you say fully weighted CAC, you're referring to how much does it cost for us to acquire a customer?
Acquire a customer, yeah.
Yeah, we tracked this really recently, so this may evolve over time. But right now, our CAC is roughly about $7,500.
Okay. Yep, that's not horrible. So you're getting like a 4, 5, 6 month payback period, something like that.
Correct.
And when you look at churn in a SaaS company, obviously it's critical. What's your revenue churn over the past 12 months? It's sort of weird because you recovered a ton via COVID, but what's that look like?
Yeah, I think over the last 12 months, super high and then not so high. So like in the last, like let's take the last, the month of February as an example. Like our revenue churn is like 1.7%.
Yeah.
The thing that we don't have that we obviously are focusing on these days is moving towards how do we get net revenue retention, right? And so that model is going to have to evolve this year for us to make.
So you don't have a way to drive expansion revenue, is what you're saying?
No, because we did, but we don't now because we only sell a single product now. So when we introduced an expansion option during COVID, we sold that into our customer base and got to 50% of our customers using services. But now the only thing we sell is our sort of fully featured, fully professional service offering, and so there's nowhere to go up at this particular moment. Mm-hmm. Obviously, over time, that's going to change. Pretty quickly. We're going to introduce ways to sort of bring more value to customers and figure out more ways to sell more things to them. But initially, we're just starting with sort of a singular product. And the reason we do that is to streamline the entire operations from an onboarding perspective, from a customer success perspective, it's easier to maintain one product. Although the economics of it obviously are a little more challenging, at least allows us to sort of get our ducks in a row as we begin to prepare to scale.
What would you value the company at today?
I feel like that's a question for you, Nathan.
I have no idea. Evaluation is a very emotional thing. There's no science.
It's everything I read about evaluations is, if you're a service business, it's like, 4 to 6x EBITDA. If you're a software business, it could be 7 to 10x revenue. I think I look at our valuation in terms of the narrative. I say, okay, in our space, Zillow is our biggest competitor. They're generating $1 billion in annual revenue off of agent advertising. They're moving into something called a flex model, which is essentially saying we're going to take some of your commission, 25%, 30%, and we're not going to charge you any money upfront to run ads on Zillow. As a result of that, roughly $1 billion over the next 5 years of agent advertising is going to look to move to either social or search or video. There needs to be a company in this space that takes that market. And I feel like we're in a great position to do that. So
love that future, but what would you value it today? Yeah.
What would I sell the company for?
No. Different question, because that's very different. Just value.
Sure. It's an impossible question to answer. I guess I know this is probably not great for your audience, but like, I don't think about that. Like, what do I want the company to be? Like, what is it worth today? Who knows? 50 million, 100 million, 200 million? Like, it's what would I take for it? Theoretically, if someone gave me life-changing money, sure, but we're a profitable business, right?
What would be life-changing money?
Life-changing money for any founder is when you can walk away with 10 million, $20 million. That's life-changing money, right?
Yeah, you own 30%. So post-tax, that would need to be a deal in the sort of 90 to $120 million valuation range.
Yeah, that's life-changing. But clearly, like, that's not what I'm looking to do.
Yep.
But yes.
Makes sense, Jimmy. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Sure. Number 1, favorite business book.
Yeah. Oh man, How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Yeah, CEO. One that I've been following lately is Emily Weiss from Glossier. I really admire and respect what she's doing over there.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building a business?
Man. Section 4 is a educational course by a guy named Scott Galloway, and it provides some of the absolute best advice on building a brand, business strategy that I've ever been able to be a part of. So that is absolutely my kind of go-to resource for education for myself.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
How many hours of sleep?
Yep.
I got a 16-month-old daughter. I still get like 8 hours.
Okay, that's good. The situation, it sounds like married, 1 kid?
Married, 1 kid, yeah.
All right, and how old are you, Jimmy?
35 years old.
Take us home. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Well, let me answer that question differently. I think the interesting question is what would the Jimmy of 20 years from now, tell this person, the guy I am today? And I think the advice that person would give me would be, don't hesitate.
Guys, there you have it. Curator founded back in 2013. 3 co-founders split it a third. They've bootstrapped where they are today. Just broke a $780,000 a month thing after getting beat up during COVID. Revenue dropped down to $490,000 a month. But again, flirting with a $10 million ARR mark, serving 500 customers. Enterprise motion have profited $500,000 over the past 3 months. Again, all bootstrapped, 46 people on the team, 8 engineers with the sales team. They are cranking up. They're growing fast. 24% churn annually, about 1.7% last month on the revenue side. They're looking to figure out how to fix that. We'll see what happens. Jimmy, thanks for taking us to the top.
All right, Nathan. Be well, my friend.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.